Tonight, we begin with something darker and holier. Dim the lights. Turn on a fan. Maybe light a candle. You're about to leave your comfy bed and plunge into the year 1142. But this isn't a crusade or royal feast. You just woke up inside a freezing, stone-walled Benedictine monastery. It's 3:00 a.m. A giant iron bell shakes the silence like a slap. You flinch awake. Your bed is just a wooden plank with straw. It stinks. It creaks. And something just crawled out of your pillow. You're not Steve anymore. You're Brother Fulano. No last name, no identity, just a shaved head and a robe. You try to go back to sleep, but surprise. First prayers of the day begin now. The bell wasn't asking, it was commanding. The entire monastery is already moving. 40 robed figures walk toward the chapel like zombies, eyes sunken and silent. You follow. It's pitch dark. Cold bites your toes. You stub your foot on stone. Someone coughs behind you. You pray it's not the plague. Again. The chapel is colder than your room. Everyone kneels. The floor is damp. Your robe soaks it like a sponge. You ask yourself, is this holiness or punishment? The next hour is just chanting in Latin. You're barely awake and your knees are screaming. One monk dozes off, gets smacked with a stick. You're next if you even blink too slow. After prayer, you shuffle back to the dormitory. Not to rest, but to sit silently and meditate. You accidentally fart. No one laughs. This is not that kind of brotherhood. You wonder about breakfast. Big mistake. There is none. Today is a fasting day. You ask if coffee exists. They say, "Who's that?" Eventually, you get some bread. It's harder than your mattress, paired with ale that tastes like it's been blessed by mold. You chew. You regret. You swallow out of survival instinct. Now, to work. You think, cool, I'll grow vegetables. Wrong. You'll be inside, hunched over a wooden desk, copying Latin text by candlelight. The ink smells like vinegar and disappointment. You dip your feather quill too far. Ink spills across a page. The monk next to you gasps. That's a sin, and you're the sinner. Your punishment. Copy all 150 psalms, in silence, on an empty stomach. Welcome to Divine Suffering, Deluxe Edition. You glance outside, sunlight, freedom. Nope, you're not allowed to speak until sunset. That's 15 hours of forced holy mime. Bathroom? Yes, but it's a shared wooden shack with zero privacy. The smell? Unholy. The paper? Nope. You wipe with hay. Hope you're not allergic. You miss your phone, even the part with ads. You'd kill to scroll mindlessly right now, but the only scrolls here are handwritten by you, and you're messing them up. A rat runs across your foot. You flinch. Brother Tadu whispers, "We don't fear God's creatures." You whisper back, "Speak for yourself." At sunset, you're allowed to speak again. You try small talk. Someone quotes a psalm in response. You realize, this is small talk here. Dinner. Finally. Soup so thin it's basically warm water with regrets. They call it stew. You call it broth betrayal. You eat in silence. Again. Finally, bedtime. You crawl back onto your wood plank. It's still cold, still lumpy, still cursed. You close your eyes, only for the bell to ring again in 3 hours.
Sleep doesn't come easy when you're freezing, starving, and have spiritual guilt about the rat bite. Also, your robe smells like boiled cabbage and ancient dust. You roll over, wrong move. Wood creaks, back screams. Just when your brain starts to drift, dong-ga! The bell again, it's 3:00 a.m. Wait, wasn't it just 3:00 a.m.? Time loops exist, apparently, especially in monasteries. Welcome to Matins Round 2. You walk like a sleep-deprived zombie because you are one. Your legs are jelly, your stomach is a vacuum, and you've started hallucinating St. Peter. Back in the chapel, candles flicker like ghosts. You chant, you kneel, you chant again. A monk next to you sneezes. Everyone glares like he just cursed. Chapel ends. You want to die. Instead, you get a small mercy, water from a bucket. It's cold, it smells like metal. You sip it like it's champagne. Luxury is relative. A rooster crows outside. Your first thought, food? Nope. Just the rooster mocking you. He gets to scream and do nothing. You scream internally and do everything. Chores begin. You draw water from a well. It's mud soup. Your hands freeze. You spill half of it. Brother Tadu shakes his head like a disappointed dad. Next, laundry duty. But remember, this is 1142. There's no detergent, just river water and lye soap that could strip paint. You wash a robe. It disintegrates. Oops. Another monk screams. That was Brother Guilherme's robe. You say, tell Brother Guilherme I saved him from skin rash. Nobody laughs. Again. Tough crowd. After laundry, gardening. You think it's peaceful. Then you meet the weeds. They fight back. You pull one and fall into a mud puddle. Heaven is not amused. Lunch is served. It's soup. Again, still water, still regret. With bread. You bite. It breaks a tooth. You silently pray for dentistry to be invented. Afternoon silence. Monks read scriptures. You try, but Latin just looks like angry spaghetti. Your head nods. A monk pokes you with a stick again. At this point, it's personal. Brother Tadu offers to teach you calligraphy. You agree. He says, first you must clean all the quills. You end up scrubbing goose feathers for 2 hours. This feels like hazing. One monk tries to be nice. He says, God sees your effort. You nod, trying to look holy, but you're thinking about pizza, and TikToks, and modern plumbing. 35. Evening prayers. You kneel so long your knees go numb. You stand and almost collapse. They call it spiritual surrender. You call it a medical emergency. Finally, you're dismissed for a walk. Freedom. For 30 minutes, you step outside. It smells like cows, old rain, and regret. You smile anyway. You walk past a village peasant. He's covered in mud, carrying a dead chicken. He still looks happier than you. Why? Because he can curse out loud. Back to the scriptorium, more copying. You write Deus est amor. You accidentally write Deus est amor. Brother Tadeu slaps your hand with a ruler. You try again. Deus est amor. Nice. Then the candle dies. The room goes dark. A monk trips. Chaos ensues. God forgives, but you don't forget. You walk past a village peasant. He's covered in mud carrying a dead chicken. He still looks happier than you. Why? Because he can curse out loud. One last prayer before bed. It's quiet, almost peaceful. Your head bows, you think I survived. Then the bell rings again. Tomorrow is fasting and floor scrubbing. You scream internally. Your bed is calling. Not out of comfort, but because it's the only horizontal surface that doesn't involve kneeling. You collapse like a medieval Jenga tower. Sweet unconsciousness. The blanket smells like goat. The pillow is straw, full of mystery lumps. You wrap yourself like a burrito of suffering. One monk snores like a demon exorcism. Just as you doze off. Footsteps. Brother Tadu again. He whispers, confession time. You whisper back, I confess I'm trying to sleep. Not funny, apparently. Confession booth. Dark, cold, and smaller than your dignity. You mumble sins. I doubted Latin. I hate the soup. I thought about pizza again. Heavy silence. God forgives, says the monk, but tomorrow you're cleaning the latrine. He smiles. You die a little inside. You return to bed. Try to think of happy things, but your brain plays Gregorian chants on loop. Even in dreams, monks chase you with scripture. The final bell rings. It's 5 a.m. Monks stretch like medieval cats. You crawl out of bed like a resurrected chicken. You smell like despair and onion. Your robe is still damp. You put it on anyway. Fashion was never the goal here. You're handed a scroll. Today's penance. Copy it. In Latin. With a feather. You die a little inside. You return to bed, using ink made from oak galls and sorrow. You write one sentence. Your hand cramps. You cry a little. Brother Tadeu says, we have 70 more to go. 70. Why, God. Midway through copying, you see a spider. Big one. He's living under the desk. You consider naming him. He's your only friend here. You call him Brother Arana. He seems chill. You imagine him sipping medieval espresso. Even he looks more rested than you. Lunch again. Same soup. You die a little inside. You return to bed. Less regret this time because expectations are now dead. You chew on a crust of bread like it owes you money. Another chore, candle making, which sounds fun, until you realize it involves boiling animal fat. In August, in an unventilated room. The smell hits like a slap. It's aggressive. You gag. Brother Tadu says, smells like piety. You say, smells like feet. He doesn't laugh. Nobody ever laughs here. You wonder if joy was outlawed in 1120. More copying. You try to draw a tiny illuminated letter. It looks like a demon doing yoga. Brother Tadu shakes his head again. He says, art is devotion. You nod, but you miss drawing stickmen with laser eyes like in the 4th grade. Evening prayer. Again. You're so tired your chant sounds like snoring. Someone pokes you with a candle. You consider joining a Viking clan instead. Back to bed. The goat blanket feels familiar now. Your eyes close. You dream of Wi-Fi, and running water, and not being judged by Brother Arana. The night wraps itself around the stone walls. Cold, silent. Only the sound of distant wind brushing against old wood. You lie still, eyes half open, half dreaming. Brother Arana crawls nearby. You're no longer afraid. He's just another monk. Except with more legs. The candle flickers. Shadows dance across the stone. You hear whispers. Maybe it's the wind. Maybe not. You remember someone saying this place was built over catacombs. Old bones, forgotten names. You chuckle softly, then shiver. Your breath fogs slightly in the cold air. Every creak in the wall feels alive, but you're too tired to care. Sleep pulls at your limbs like warm chains. There's a rhythm now, drip, creak, rustle, like the monastery itself is breathing with you. You think about leaving. You remember someone saying this place was built over catacombs, escaping, running into the woods. But the thought fades. You're sinking deeper. Brother Tadu hasn't spoken in hours. He just sits by the candle, watching, maybe meditating, maybe waiting. The silence isn't empty. It's full of things unsaid, regrets, oaths, old prayers echoing between the stones. You wonder. Rustle, like the monastery itself is breathing with you. You think about leaving. How many have slept in this same bed? How many have stayed? How many never left? A distant bell rings. You count the tolls. 1, 2. Each one softer than the last, like a lullaby made of metal. Your hand rests on the straw mattress. You feel it twitch. But it's just your nerves, sighing right. Brother Arana returns. He crawls onto your chest. You smile. You've grown fond of him. You name him Gregory. Rustle, like the monastery itself is breathing with you. You think about leaving. Escaping. Running into the woods. But the thought fades. You're sinking deeper. Brother Tadu hasn't spoken in hours. He just sits by the candle, watching, maybe meditating, maybe waiting. The silence isn't empty. It's full of things unsaid. Regrets, oaths, old prayers echoing between the stones. You wonder, how many have slept in this same bed? Escaping, running into the woods. But the thought fades. How many have stayed? How many have never left? A distant bell rings. You count the tolls. 1, 2. Each one softer than the last, like a lullaby made of metal. Your hand rests on the straw mattress. You feel it twitch. But it's just your nerves, right? Brother Arana returns. He crawls onto your chest. You smile. You've grown fond of him. You name him Gregory. Gregory twitches. You both stare into the dark ceiling, as if waiting for the past to whisper its next story. You think about the library, about the scrolls, their ink, smells like burnt wood and secrets. There was one scroll they told you never to read. It was locked, covered in wax seals. You touched it anyway. You remember the chill that climbed up your arm, the symbols you couldn't understand, but felt in your chest. Since then, the silence has never been the same. It hums, a low sound under everything, a memory or a warning. Gregory curls into your robe. You whisper goodnight to him. You're not sure he hears it, but you feel less alone. Your eyes close. A breeze passes through the cracks in the stone. It carries something with it, not a chill, something older, and it lulls you finally to sleep. Somewhere outside, a raven croaks. Or was it Brother Tedu snoring again? Hard to say, both have that same judgmental tone. You shift under your blanket. If you can call this scratchy sack of hair a blanket, it smells alive. You hope it's not. Gregory stirs. You pet him softly. You're not even fazed anymore. He's family now. Your breath syncs with the hum of the walls. There's something comforting about ancient stone. It's seen things, and it won't judge you for snoring. The candle sputters one last breath before it dies, kind of like your will to wake up early tomorrow. You wonder what medieval dreams feel like. Probably involve leeches, or being chased by theology. You hear a soft chant far away like a lullaby whispered by ghosts. You hum along, because why not? There's a rat choir now, at least 3-part harmony. Better than most bands on TikTok. Your toes are freezing, but you're too tired to care. You pull the robe tighter. Monastic fashion was not made for comfort. You remember that scroll again, still locked, still calling, but not tonight. Tonight is for forgetting. A soft thump in the hallway. Someone drops something, or someone. You close your eyes, you picture a warm bath, then remember they bathe once a month here. Maybe you're halfway to dreaming. But a whisper drags you back. Don't forget the vow. Wait, what vow? Gregory just shrugs. He's not helpful with memory, but he looks wise doing it. The ceiling above you cracks softly, just the old wood stretching, or a ghost cat crawling back to its crypt. You finally sigh, long and slow. There's peace here, dusty, cold peace. But peace. The wind hums through the stones. It's a lullaby now. The language you don't know, but your bones do. One last breath. You sink into the straw, into the robe, into the monastery's arms. You feel Gregory curl near your neck. Soft little tickles. A medieval bedtime hug. Sleep finally wins. The stone walls hold your dreams. Strange ones, old ones, ones that whisper, "You've always been here." In a language you don't know, but your bones do. You open your eyes, or think you did. The walls are the same, but somehow breathing. Slow, rhythmic. Like the monastery is asleep too. Gregory's missing. Only a tiny note remains, scribbled in Latin. You never taught him Latin. The door creaks open, but no one enters. Just candlelight. It moves like it has legs. You follow it. Of course. You open your eyes, or think you did. The walls are the same, but somehow breathing, slow, rhythmic. Like the monastery is asleep too. Gregory's missing. Only a tiny note remains, scribbled in Latin. You never taught him Latin. The door creaks open, but no one enters, just candlelight. It moves like it has legs. You follow it, of course. The hallway is longer, much longer, impossible. But dreams don't care about architecture. A monk floats by. His feet don't touch the ground. His eyes glow faintly. You pretend that's normal. There's music now. A harp being played underwater. You feel each note in your spine. You turn the corner. A dining hall full of monks with no faces, still arguing about soup temperature. The hallway is longer, much longer, impossible. But dreams don't care about architecture. A monk floats by. His feet don't touch the ground. His eyes glow faintly. You pretend that's normal. There's music now. A harp being played underwater. You feel each note in your spine. You turn the corner. A dining hall full of monks with no faces, still arguing about soup temperature. Someone offers you a spoon. It's made of bone. You smile politely and decline. They shrug. Bone it is. Gregory reappears, but he's huge, wearing a tiny robe. He bows and gestures for you to sit. You sit. The bench screams, actually screams, high-pitched and insulted. A bell rings. It echoes for too long, like it got lost in time on the way back. Someone offers you a spoon. It's made of bone. You smile politely and decline. They shrug. Bone it is. Gregory reappears, but he's huge. Wearing a tiny robe, he table stretches, keeps going. You blink and now you're in a forest. Still sitting at the table, trees whisper your name, but not your real one. The one you forgot. The one the scroll knows. You reach into your robe, pull out a book you've never seen. It's warm. It purrs. A nun appears, hovering slightly, asks if you'd like your sins alphabetized. You say no, thanks. She nods and vanishes into a cloud of regret. Gregory is now playing chess. With death, you realize you're the prize. You try to leave, but your feet are made of candle wax now, melting slowly. The scroll returns, opens itself. Inside only 3 words. Keep dreaming, fool. You fall. Or rise. The monastery returns piece by piece. It hums softly like it's tucking you back in. You hear a rooster, but it's speaking French. That seems wrong. Your eyes flutter open. The room is normal again. Kind of. Gregory's robe is now embroidered with eyes. He pours you tea. The cup giggles. You sip anyway. It tastes like old secrets. The monastery looks calmer. Dust hangs like fog in morning light. You're not sure if you're really awake. You walk outside. The garden is blooming. With teeth. Tiny, polite teeth. Brother Aldwin waves at you. He's tending the bite weeds. They bark when watered. Someone plays a lute. Badly. But the melody follows you like a question. You check your feet. Normal. Shoes are back. Left one is whispering your sins, though. You sit beneath the chapel bell. It's not ringing, but your ears think it is. Everything feel wrong in the right way. Like déjà vu in reverse. Like someone else's memory stuck in your dream. You hear chants, but they're out of sync. Gregorian karaoke night? Gregory appears. Again, always Gregory. He says, "Did you find the scroll?" You nod. You don't remember, but it feels like the right answer. He smiles, way too many teeth, way too calm. He hands you a feather. Use it when you're ready. For what? He doesn't say. The monastery starts to dissolve, not vanish, melt, like wax in warm sunlight. You blink. You're in your bed. Real bed. Probably. Your blanket smells like incense and regret. Your pillow hums softly. The sound of monk snores. You look at your hands. Just hands. But one has a faint rune. You don't ask questions anymore. You close your eyes. Sleep takes you. For real this time. And in the distance, a bell calling or a warning. The room is still, but something's different. You feel it, a pull from under your bed. You reach, it's not the floor. It's paper. Old, warm, breathing. You unfold it slowly. A scroll. Your name is on it, written centuries ago. The ink smells like ash and lavender. The handwriting is yours, but you never wrote this, you read it aloud. A list, dates, places, all the moments you almost died in real life. Each one crossed out, and next to each, redirected to sleep. You hear a knock, not on the door, on your mind. Gregory's voice again. Now you know. Know what? No answer. The candle lights itself, the flame dances, forms a shape. Your face, then another, hundreds. Faces that look like you. Slightly different. A bit older, a bit younger. Monks, peasants, bakers, soldiers, artists. All versions of you. In other lives, other histories. Gregory steps forward. You never just slept. You were sent. A dream walker, a sleeper of centuries. You've always been the same soul. Every nap, A shift, every nightmare, a memory. The monastery was just the waiting room, the scroll, your boarding pass. You were never lost in history. You are history, woven through it like a forgotten thread. You stand, the scroll folds itself, slides into your chest, no pain, only quiet. Gregory bows, the world dims. The bell tolls one last time, and then nothing. No room, no sound. Just breath. Yours. You open your eyes. It's morning. Real morning. Alarm clock, blanket, but there's a feather on your pillow. The world around you is gone. You're floating, not flying, just drifting like a forgotten bookmark. Then a voice. Not Gregory's, yours, but from somewhere older, wiser. Sleep is not rest, it says. It's rehearsal. You laugh, or maybe cry, hard to tell. The feeling is itchy, existential eczema. A vision appears. You in a cradle, then you in a grave, then both side by side. Gregory returns, eating a pear. Where did he get that pear? It looks smug. He chews, nods at you. Now it's time to pick an era. Wait, what? You thought this was just a memory, a guided nap. Nope, you've unlocked the loop. Gregory, you can go back to any time, but you must live it. No respawns, no exits. You ask the obvious. Why me? He laughs. You're the only one who stayed awake while asleep. Options appear in the air. 1348, plague vendor. 1605, Guy Fawkes's roommate. 1816, Frankenstein's babysitter. You blink. One more appears. Tomorrow. The only era nobody chooses. Gregory leans in. It's not about history, it's about facing it. The scenes flicker. Peasants dancing, wars raging, babies born, crowds yelling in Latin. You float through it all, detached, like a historian with no notepad. The only era nobody chooses. Gregory leans in. It's not about history, it's about facing it. The scenes flicker. Peasants dancing, wars raging, babies born, crowds yelling in Latin. You float through it all, detached, like a historian with no notepad. Then a memory hits you. Not from this life. From a dream you had as a kid, of fire. And an old man saying your name. You thought it was just a nightmare. Turns out it was Gregory on fire safety duty. The truth is, you've always been here. Every age, every bed, every whisper. You reach out, touch one of the floating eras. Cold, wet. It smells like soup and revolution. You hesitate, not because you're scared, but because you're awake fully. Gregory smiles, no pear this time, just silence. You're ready, he says. You won't remember all this, but it'll remember you. The scroll returns, flickers, updates, new title. Dream Loop, 347, candidate accepts. Everything goes quiet. The world folds inward like a pop-up book in reverse. You fall down, 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 until, thwump, a bed, clean, modern, not medieval, no fleas, no Gregory, no soup, just your bedroom, but the shadows move weird. The mirror fogs itself, words appear. Nice choice. You breathe. Look at your phone. It's 3:03 a.m. You were out for minutes or centuries. The feather's still there. Next to it, a tiny scroll. One word written. Tomorrow. You smile. Not because it makes sense, but because it doesn't. Sleep is not escape. It's the back door to truth. The mirror fogs itself, your words appear. Nice choice. You breathe. Look at your phone. It's 3:03 a.m. You were out for minutes, and you just opened it. So now, breathe. Feel your pillow. The soft buzz of silence. You're back. You're safe. At least until the next scroll appears, but for now, sleep. While history watches. You just opened it. So now, breathe. Feel your pillow. The soft buzz of silence. You're back. You're safe. At least until the next scroll appears. But for now, sleep. While history watches, You dream of soup, not just any soup. Plague-era stew with hope and leeches, of course. Gregory's voice hums like a lullaby. Every age has soup. Only the spoon changes. You giggle in your sleep. A giggle that belongs to you, and someone you haven't been yet. A door creaks open in the dark. Out walks a cat wearing a crown and a bathrobe. It meows in Latin. Somnium transit. Historia manet. The dream passes. History stays. You follow the cat through a library of sleeping monks. Books breathe, candles whisper. You reach a desk. Your name is written there in ink that moves like fog. Next to it, a note. Don't forget to forget. You smile, finally understanding nothing, which ironically is everything. The cat purrs, then turns into dust, then into a quill. You pick it up, write one word, sleep. And just like that, you begin to fall again, not down, but inward. The centuries wave goodbye like drunk uncles at a wedding. Gregory appears on a cloud, wearing Crocs. He winks. See you in loop 348. Your eyes flutter. Reality peels away like old wallpaper. You land in a quiet meadow. No time, no noise, just breeze and brain fog. You lie down, in grass older than time and dumber than philosophy. Everything is still, except your thoughts. They dance like medieval peasants on Red Bull, but it's okay. You earned this weird peace. You survived history. Now, let it survive you. You blink, and everything is IKEA, flat-packed reality. The meadow fades into a modern bedroom, memory foam, the cruelest irony. You sit up. There's a medieval helmet on your pillow, still warm. Gregory's voice echoes from your phone. Reminder, boil your urine before taxes. Classic monk wisdom. You laugh, then cry, then burp softly. Balance. Something's changed. You can't explain it, but the toothpaste now tastes existential. You look in the mirror. Your reflection wears a plague doctor mask. He nods, respectfully. You go to make coffee. The kettle hisses in Old Norse. Your toaster prints runes on your bread. One says, sleep again. You check your calendar. Today is Witch Trial Wednesday. Gregory is on your TV, hosting a cooking show. He's making boiled shoe with herbs. You nod like that's normal, because now, it kinda is. You open your fridge. It's filled with fog and one glowing turnip. You pet the turnip. It purrs. A note is taped to it. History doesn't end, just naps. The bed creaks like a ghost sighing. Outside, the sky is parchment. The stars are ink blots. You smile. Close your eyes. And finally, unravel. Sleep isn't escape. It's time travel without the seatbelt. The last candle flickers out. The scent of wax and drowsiness fills the air. You're not here anymore, or are you? In the far corner, a figure. Gregory? No. Just a coat rack, with very strong opinions. The floor creaks like it's whispering. Too late. You try to remember who you were before this video. A manager, a knight, a hamster. Your head sinks into the pillow. It feels like medieval wool. Itchy, but with historical affection. You hear a harp, or a rat tuning strings. Hard to tell. Time melts like butter in a cauldron. Gregory laughs in the distance, or maybe it's your stomach. The walls of your room now read in Latin. You never studied Latin, but suddenly you understand. A final breeze drifts through. It says, shh, history is sleeping too. Everything slows, everything whispers, everything makes sense, or nothing. And that's enough. Your finger hovers over the pause button but doesn't press. Why bother? You've gone too far. Your soul grabs a return ticket to the 21st century. With a layover in 1347, your blanket becomes a cloak, your phone a sacred relic. You are legend. Your eyes shut, not from boredom, but from reverence. Outside, the world is loud. In here, only snores and sacred chills. If someone saw you now, they'd say, That person's either peaceful or possessed. You dissolve into silence. Gregory lights a candle in your mind. The video ends. But the Middle Ages stay with you until your next nap. If you're still listening, congrats. Or condolences. But if you've already fallen asleep, dream of sarcastic monks, medieval porridge, and ducks wearing hats, and if you wake up, come back. The Dark Ages never close.